You are well aware of the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's, in essence, a hate-based scam organization that, by the way, they had one of their own staff attorneys arrested earlier this year on charges of domestic terrorism. The very thing that they accuse everyone else of, they have one of their own staff charged with domestic terrorism. Well, Congress is now beginning to take notice of the SPLC. The House Republicans filed a resolution this week defending parental rights groups such as Moms for Liberty after the SPLC labeled them an extremist organization and put them on the notorious hate map alongside KKK chapters and the like. Well, this is the same hate map that inspired another domestic terrorist, Floyd Corkins, to attempt a mass shooting right here at the Family Research Council's office in Washington, D.C. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Tyler O'Neill. He's the managing editor of the Daily Signal and author of the book, Making Hate Pay, The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Tyler, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Jody.
Well, listen, you literally wrote the book on the SPLC, and everyone listening, watching right now knows that the FRC is very familiar with what they are really all about. But by going after concerned parents, like they have recently done, parents who just want to protect their kids, it's refreshing to see that Congress is at least beginning to take notice of that. Tell us about this resolution.
Yeah, so this resolution is very important. We have House Republicans filing a resolution that explicitly states that it is not considered extremist or hateful to stand up for parents' rights in the classroom, to say whether, what their children should be able to learn, and to prevent sexualized materials in school libraries. So this is really key because of the SPLC adding them to the hate map last week. And we've seen across the left a lot of people demonizing moms and dads who go to their school board meetings, making their voices heard. And we've even seen the Obama administration going after them with the DOJ memo and the White House requesting the letter behind that memo back in 2021. And we've also seen collaboration between the Biden White House and the SPLC ahead of the release of the SPLC's new hate map and ahead of the Biden administration's LGBTQIA plus or something strategy that they released last week. And that strategy talked about using the FBI to go after hate groups that pose a threat to the LGBT community. Wow.
And those hate groups are just conservative organizations, Christian organizations, what have you, standing for what they believe. All right, so explain to our audience what it would mean if this resolution passes. It does not carry the weight of law, but what does this resolution mean as it moves forward?
Yeah, so this resolution would state that it is the opinion and belief of Congress that these organizations are not extremist. So this, as you mentioned, this would not change the law. This would not force the SPLC to retract their smears. But what it would do was send a very clear message to America that the SPLC is lying here and that these parents and their, the organizations that support them, Moms for Liberty, Parents Defending Education, that these are not hate groups, that these are not anti-government extremist groups, as the SPLC says, and they do not belong anywhere near the KKK on a list.
Well, and Tyler, also the SPLC has pretty close ties to the Biden administration, as well as other federal agencies for that matter. I wonder if this resolution could somehow help the effort to perhaps sever some ties there with the administration or other agencies. Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think what this would do, well, it's interesting because this would clearly send a message that Congress does not stand with these attacks. But the Biden administration obviously is not going to listen to the GOP majority House when it comes to deciding who is and is not a hate group. So, unfortunately, I think the Biden administration will continue to do this. But what this resolution really does is it draws a line in the sand. If Democrats vote against this, are they saying that these organizations are extremist and hateful? I mean, why would you vote against a resolution merely stating the fact that moms and dads speaking up at their school board meetings, putting their foot down that they won't have sexualized instruction for kids, making complaints that when their kids are forced to wear masks all day in the COVID pandemic, far later, these parents claim than they should have been forced to. These are moms and dads making their opinions heard through the normal process, and they do not deserve to be smeared as haters and extremists.
Well, no federal or law enforcement agency should be taking cues from the SPLC. I mean, that's just that makes no sense whatsoever.
Exactly. And yet we see the FBI cite them going after radical traditional Catholics. We see the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, cite them when it comes to media literacy and online. So I think we're going to see more of these connections. I mean, a White House advisor on counterterrorism met with the SPLC recently, met with the very person who decided
Tyler, we're going to have to leave it there.
Yep.
Tyler O'Neill of the Daily Signal, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.